Alright, so I'm going to start with SPY, and I'm not going to rechart SPY. I'll show you everything we've done to chart SPY. Basically, all we did was go to it wasn't the 4 hour, I'm sorry. It was the daily time frame. And we focused on last week. If you go to, I think it was last week or the week before's video on the YouTube channel. But it'll point out exactly why we got these levels. But mainly we were aiming for just the important areas. So I'm looking for shoulders and retests. That's all I was really focused on. Where normally you guys see me come in here and me grab every single emerging candle I can. We end up having a million levels, which yes, it's helpful for day trading, but just to give us a picture for the week ahead, it's nice just to kind of leave just the important levels on the chart, and then later on kind of adding those extras. So if you want to just leave that, go review that older video, please do. It is super helpful just to kind of pick up on how we're getting these levels without making shit up. You know, we're really not making anything up. We do have a system for everything we're doing. So again, we are kind of aiming to see, is this base going to hold between 388, 380.50, which is the low of this wick. If you go to the 4 hour, you can see there is a bit of a support there in between this large range between 385 and 376. So we're going to be looking for this base to give out. But we're not instantly just going to go start selling again. So going into next week, don't just start shorting. You want to wait and see, are we going to get this retest? Are we not? Again, so wait for candle closes. We'll see on the daily time frame, and I'll of course do my best as usual to post where we are in the market. So make sure to check out the little video. Basically, in short, let's go check out the Qs. So Qs, it's the same story. It's just again going to be different numbers. So don't let that psych you out. But tech being the largest portion of the market, the most active, the most engaging, the most popular part of the market, tech. Your Apple, your Microsofts, these are always going to be your most popular, your semiconductors, and you can see they are in the same exact seat and scenario as SPY, just again different numbers. We're seeing the push off of recent support. We see 8 to 9 days sitting in a range, and then we see a harami into a close with rising volume. Add that under the 9 EMA and our range, the range we're looking for a break. They end up getting the break. We gap down into Friday. We test the support, so we're in the same seat as SPY, the market. We're waiting to see, can this last line in the sand hold for buyers, or are we just going to end up getting a retest move where buyers just take a little bit longer, sellers want to just get some more consolidation in here before truly taking this down? Because look at how much consolidation we had. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 8.5 days, like I said on SPY. So how many days of continuation can we get? We can get 7 to 8 days of continuation. As big as the consolidation, the rally can be. So make sure you pay attention to how big that can be. But again, don't just jump into shorting. Wait to see, are we going to get that bounce? You might be able to play some really awesome buy the dip plays going into the morning. So if we end up holding flat in the morning, I would prefer that, just so we don't have to worry about it a whole lot. But overall, what are we going to be aiming to long over tomorrow if buyers do step in? Let's say sellers don't completely sell us off. What can we look towards? We can focus on our previous day closes. We can focus on our previous day opens. And on some stocks, you're going to have these common resistances. You can see right here where we curled up and kind of stopped before pushing down and closing lower, kind of at the low of day. This is kind of setting up a range right here for us to play calls out of. So if this ends up popping, this is good for scalps, and we can look above this for better day trades. So look above the 295 area, short term again, up to the 300 for any kind of bullish reversal. Go back down again. What can we do if we don't gap down? We sit sideways and we push down. What can we look lower on? We could look under our previous day low and aim for the base on the daily and 4 hour. So that's what we'll be focusing on. So depending on how we open tomorrow will affect where we're trading from. So I'll be sure to update that in the morning like usual. Again, we do post updates every single day on the list. So make sure you guys are not just reading the list and recharting the levels with us, but also reading those SPY and QQQ updates. We do update those every day, just so you guys have a better visualization of what's going on in the market, because things can seem very hectic. Let's go to coin. So Bitcoin, and you won't be able to see it on TOS's Bitcoin futures, but Bitcoin is below 28K, so potentially bringing some more selling pressure into these crypto stocks. So again, even though not a lot of us in here are bulls on crypto, it doesn't matter. You guys can still go look at some good liquid options chains on tickers that relate to crypto. Coinbase being one of those, Riot, Mara. What's up, Jeremy? Glad to see you in here, man. And yeah, Jeremy was on top of this the other night when Bitcoin was initially crashing down a little further. Good job on that, man. I was still up from UFC after seeing that. But basically, all I've charted out was just, let me go to the 4 hour. all I charted out was the base of the low, and then I grabbed emerging candles. So I grabbed this candle here, this candle here, this candle here, and this candle here. I went in between the range of this level here and this level here. I added a fib, and I added the control point and the bottom of the golden pocket, giving me two other in between the range levels that I can focus on tomorrow. So let's say Coinbase opens lower, right? I can potentially watch these levels for any kind of bounces or a continuation down below 50. So that's what I'll be focusing on Coinbase, regardless of the price action. Again, always plan for up, always plan for down. We're not sitting here to be bearish or bullish. We're sitting here to plan both sides. So don't be ignorant to the facts. Don't blindside yourself. Don't tunnel vision. So that kind of makes up for my coin levels. I wanted to go through and chart up a couple others beforehand, and I also wanted to talk about BA real quick before we go chart up the rest. So we started charting BA together using just the supply demand. So if you guys again need to go back to that video, please do. But basically, when we grab our demand zone, we're going from bottom to top of the opening candle and vice versa. So if I see a reversal, I'm going to grab the top of that candle to the open of it. That'll be a supply area. So we end up just drawing that all over the left side of that chart, and this is what the result was. And you can see since then, we've kind of caught support with two hammers, pushed lower from that zone to the next, bounced, we got over the 9 again, rejected that area that used to be demand, potentially turning supply. So this could be a very strong bearish area right now for Boeing. We end up gapping down with the market, except the market is about right here. You can see Boeing's about a day behind in movement. So we could potentially watch for more downside for Boeing to this support. If 119 breaks, what can we look forward to? 113.80, 107, 110. There's a lot of levels right there below BA. So just using those supply demand areas, Boeing's still playing out perfectly. I was about to call out a long signal on this, but we never got a close into this range, so I didn't even bother. So I'll be, again, looking for that kind of signal down here as we start to slow up, but we'll see. But let's get to charting. So I want to start with Apple. As you guys can see, this is from our last week's levels. I'll clear it and we'll start over. But just to kind of go through it, you can see we did drop, had a flag, had a bearish kicker, kind of evening star signal against that area, indicating it's not just a drop through that level. We're now also rejecting that, potentially turning that old support into resistance. Very, very strong level. So what do we get when we rise back up here? It's a very strong resistance again. Buyers need a lot of volume to get above that with the market. So with Apple pushing down here, being in the same spot as SPY and the Qs, we're going to have to watch Apple going into this next week as well. Apple being one of the most, it is the most heaviest ticker on the market. It will be the king to watch. So regardless of what I just said on SPY and Qs, you're going to also need to apply the same on Apple. Apple's the king. So make sure to pay attention on that. We'll be watching below the 137 again, but I'm going to clear this so we can get some more refreshed levels in this. I don't want to just keep saying go back to the old video. So let's chart a couple of them. So I see I'm like right here in the 137 area. If it makes it easy for you, you can always just go to the 4 hour, grab you a recent support, extend it over to the left, because you're going to be working on that far left side first. So just to kind of remind you where you are on the chart, that helps you out. So seeing that's kind of where we are, we go to the daily real quick. Look how that lines up with that emerging candle. That's crazy. So let's grab a couple below, just so we're set. That looks great. And then we'll go back to the 4 hour, and I'm going to work my way up. So after we exited this range, what did we do? And again, what I'm grabbing are emerging candles. These are just the tops of green candles that are pushing new boundaries. So you can see we never pushed this high before. I'm marking it. We never pushed this high before. I'm marking it. Basically in short. These are always leading to be very, very strong levels because we're going from left to right. Like when you guys read a book, what direction do you read it in? You don't read it right to left. You don't read it backwards. It wouldn't make sense that way. You read left to right. So that's what we're going to do on this on this chart. We're going to go through the price history left to right. And it might seem tedious, but trust me, it is very helpful. If you go check out any of our past videos, any of my playlists, I mean, we have hundreds of videos to back this up. You could go and review some of them, even try this out for yourself, and just kind of read the chart. After you do this little method, go back over to the right and just kind of look how price action reacted to it on any time frame. You'll be pretty surprised. But let me get back over there and get some more levels going. But how's everyone doing so far on the stream? While I get some of these awesome levels to grab. Alright, I'm gonna stop right there because we're at 153. Price is at 137. So let's just move on over to where price is now. So just reviewing it, you can see how price reacted. Different candles moving off different supports. Again, doing no price action grabbing from right here. We're focused entirely on the far left of the chart just to give ourselves a good chance here. And you can see on the 4 hour, kind of lining up with what I said on SPY and the Qs, we are approaching pretty heavy supports. So the fact that I just only grabbed important levels and 3 and 2 more pop up in very close areas together indicates that as well, that we have good, very strong supports in the area. So we're kind of lining up with our TA. That's good. Let's go down to the 5 minute. If you ever want to go down to the 30 minute, it's a great time frame as well. If you ever end up not having everything you want, it's also a great time frame just to study. The 30 minute is a very patient and slow and just calming time frame. Let's jump down to the 5 minute and just kind of review a little bit of price action together. So going into next week, going into tomorrow, let me get this chart better looking. So going into next week, Monday, let's say stock opens here, stock opens here, stock opens here, or down here, or down here. It doesn't seem to really matter, does it? Because I have levels all around. I'm ready to go. So going in the morning, I'm going to add my previous day close. And again, for everybody who keeps asking, make sure to go review the old videos, but we have covered this a million times. When you see me grabbing some of these, make sure you're seeing where I'm grabbing them from. Some of them I am grabbing from the daily. Some of them I have been requested by the stream to grab. This one right here I'm grabbing is the previous day close. It's a very strong pivot point. Another really good pivot point is your previous day open. The third pivot point that I end up grabbing will be tomorrow's open. So whatever price opens at, like right here, see how it opened and then dropped, I'll highlight it just the same. So that's the other areas I'll be focused on for shorter time frame. Of course, BB system prevails every single day. We just have to be patient enough to watch it with the right levels. So like I said, going into tomorrow, if it starts here, we're watching in the outer ranges for a play, or bounces inside the range if you want, if you like hammers, stars, again, patterns with positioning. But if we end up opening lower, we have good levels to look around, vice versa if we open higher. So Apple, already set to go. I can jump back out to the daily just to kind of look at it again, and I can see we have everything. It looks like I can grab one more level here if I really wanted to from recent price action. 132.60. Besides that though, this looks ready to go besides adding tomorrow's smaller time frame levels. So hopefully that's helpful to some of you guys. But that's how we chart in here. It's very simple. It's got a system to it. And hold up, I messed up my chart now. Alright, let's go to the 5-year daily just to see where are we. And just to kind of give myself a good starting point. I really do like to kind of just look far left instantly just to kind of see where is there a shoulder at that price hasn't broken yet. And you can see 154.20 is a pretty good one. If you want to zoom in and grab an exact level, you can. 153.30 it looks like. Just grabbing a couple of levels under. Alright, that looks fine for underneath. So if anything happens to the downside, we know what levels to look at. And then let's go to the 4 hour. Let's start grabbing a couple levels above. We don't gotta completely wreck our chart. And again, this is the other method. On SPY, I showed you guys just grabbing the important levels, not grabbing as much, having less noise on your chart. If that's the route you want to take, please take it. But I'm here to post every single level so you guys understand where we're coming from. So now you have, the mass extent of how strong or how many levels we like to grab, and then you can see you don't have to actually grab as many. You can keep it kind of quiet. Just focus again on your tops and your retest if you're grabbing those fewer levels. And we'll have more videos and streams on zone charting and how I like to grab zones when I actually do them. But yeah. Alright, so I'm grabbing more emerging candles. I like that retest spot. And I see prices down here 176. I have levels at 205. It's probably okay to move on over and just kind of see what we have so far. And you can see lining up again. Looks like we're missing a couple levels there again with BB system. That ends up helping us out very easily. But going into tomorrow, what can we look at? Let me get my pan tool here again. Rectangle. Alright, so we can see opening price was about here. And we have high of day about right there. So I'm going to just highlight both of those. And then we had previous day close about right here. and about low of day was right here. So let's just mark both of those. And that ends up giving us a really good smaller time frame range going into tomorrow. So regardless of where I start, I know both of these areas are very, very strong, and we can look forward to them regardless of where the market goes. But let's auto zoom back out. And so with all these levels helping us, we're really not that worried, because tomorrow if it opens here, I can take it to 176, short it below. So again, these levels giving us good plans for both downside and upside. We're not being biased. And this is how you should be with everything in life, in my opinion. You shouldn't ever be politically biased. You shouldn't ever be economically biased. You shouldn't ever be financially biased, especially with the markets. These markets are very unforgiving. But let's go on to the next one. The last one I was going to chart up was Tesla, and then I was going to take any chart requests that you guys have. So let me finish this one up. But how's everyone doing so far in the stream? Hopefully I'm not going too fast. Hopefully I'm at least being clear with what I'm doing. Let's see. So I can see Tesla's down here at 696. And here we could do that method with Tesla real quick, just to kind of show people in here. So I can see this is a big shoulder. Price has not been past this in a long time. So I'm going to mark it. Where did price retest to after holding all that time? It went down to here. So let's just grab those. Very simple. Top, bottom, continuation. Where do we finally kind of edge out again? I'm going to grab it right here, because this is kind of where the shoulder was before we really started rallying again. And then I'll grab that one. There really isn't much of a retest point in between there. There's one about right here. Price returns, slows down. Another hill. So just grabbing some of those simple levels, just grabbing some of the smaller ones. We can actually see this is super effective, as we've been rejecting the 762 repeatedly. It was support, as you can see from before. We fell under it, caught support on the next level, rejected with an evening star, and ever since then we've not been over it with a strong close. This was the only strong close we had, and that was with the market. Next day gap down, of course, and ever since then holding base. So it looks like just using some of those simple levels, we can actually look at a lot of really, really good breakouts. So if you want to go back in there and add some of those TA routine levels, you can, but that already kind of gave you the bigger picture. So I see them in between this area. Let's just do it on the daily. So if you want to just add small levels, I'll leave my screen up for just a second so you can just have those. But this is the less levels, less noise kind of charting effect you can do if you don't want to have as many like you've been seeing me do. But I am about to go back through this and add all of those levels like we did on NVDA and Apple. And you can see you're still grabbing effective levels, you're just adding less noise. But let's clear it. Let's go back. Actually, no, we'll leave it. And we'll get some more TA routine levels. So we have everything we need. So I'm going to focus on this particular area. 585. End up pushing to 650. No break. And again, I'm just grabbing tops of buyer candles. Nothing's fancy. This is fancy TA routine. If you haven't ever seen it, I recommend the playlist. Actually, that looks like everything I need. So going into tomorrow, all I need to add now is my blue rectangles. Like I've been grabbing, we had our previous day open right here. And I'm going to just go up to that previous day high. Why not? Let's just knock both out while we're at it. And let's go to that previous day close. It's about right here. See, I'm a lot farther here than I am there. So if you want to add it like that, you can. If you want to add just the close, you can. But it looks like adding both is going to be helpful on all of these charts going into Monday, just because we don't know what to expect open-wise. Market could completely rally. But regardless, we're going to add our BB system going into tomorrow. So I'm going to add my previous day low, my previous day high, previous day open, previous day close. And then going into tomorrow, we'll see where's our today's open, when that's tomorrow, of course. And then we'll plan around it for the watch list. And again, if you go back to any of my watch lists, you'll see that basically everything I mark is in that manner. We don't really ever grab random levels. It's almost always going to be a level of recent price action or a level from the bigger time frame that we've set beforehand. You're not really ever going to last second be adding something that just kind of throws you off. The only thing you really be updating on your charts is when a new high of day happens or a new low of day happens, or something like that. But adding more levels you really should not be doing going into that next day unless it's a smaller time frame, BB system level. So again, like the rest of these charts, no matter how Tesla reacts, and yeah, their after hours price action is very ugly. They had that split news coming out. So regardless of what's going to happen, if they open here, they open here, they open here, we have direction. We have levels all around that we can focus on for targets, for stop losses. Again, I get a lot of questions from people in chat that say, how do you use your stop losses? And that's explained in a lot of my videos and the course a lot, but I want to go over it again. When you guys are using these levels, use them together. You're not just throwing on random levels. I have explained the importance behind these levels. You have seen the importance behind these levels with your own eyes. Every time you add them and go review, you can see, just visualizing, how well price action abides by our levels. So again, we're not just grabbing random levels. So that's why it's very important to visualize, kind of go back and review, and that helps you out in the future. It helps you trust these levels more. Less hesitation. But let's jump into some chart requests. TTD is at an interesting level. Previous low before hitting all-time high. Strong support. Alright, cool. And yeah, I think I have this charted from you last time, VK. I don't think I've touched it since then. But I'll clear it. Give it a fair look at again. And seeing price hasn't been over here in a while, I'm just going to add the shoulder so I can zoom in more. There's another good shoulder here that price used as support. That's kind of what we're jump roping right now. So the 51s are going to be very, very important. So let's focus on some of those. So we'll grab that peak and we can start working right. Whoops. Activate. There you go. Actually, you don't have to add any of those levels. I just realized something. So this is kind of the shoulder, and this is the retest point. I just realized if I highlight both of these, that's current range. Support. You've been seeing jump roping right here, so there is a good secondary resistance between here. So I would say this entire area you need to watch as it kind of supply. In this area you need to watch for demand. So if this doesn't end up breaking, they will bounce. That's a very good find though, VKK. Does anybody want to know why I think this is a really good find? Just by looking at it from this perspective, based on how we just looked at the market. Why is this look so good? And don't just say volume. Oh yeah, Teladoc. That'll be Kathy's big one. My bad, Al. I just now saw what you said. Yeah, Teladoc coin, Hood. Oh wait, she's not. I don't think she's in Hood that heavy. Maybe I'm thinking of someone else. So many big famous traders that are all bleeding accounts. It's hard to remember who's who. ST says base broke on TTD and has room to drop. That's the reason he thinks. Any other guesses from anybody in stream? Why does this chart have some potential behind it for more downside action? Multiple failures to break that level. I do like y'all's answers, but I'm going to say one word. Positioning. What has this chart not done yet that the market has done? Because the market had a pattern, the market closed under the 9, and the market moved lower towards the lower end of its base. There's a lot of room to the bottom side for TTD. That is why I like this. In comparison to the market, of course, TTD does not have a huge weight on the market. SPY does not have a huge weight on TTD. But let's compare them together. This is about where TTD is on its chart. This is where SPY is on its chart. This is where the Qs are on their chart. So if the market continues lower, What is TTD going to be in a really good position for? More downside action. So that's why I like that one a lot. Pure positioning. Now let's focus on the rest of y'all's points that y'all are all pointing out now. Focused on just TTD. So not in comparison of the market. What has TTD done? TTD, and a few of y'all said this, we had one really good rejection, a second, and a third. We end up having a gap down into a type of a crow pattern a little bit, and a gap down under the 9 EMA with a very slight amount of rise in volume. So pretty good indication that they're stepping in because you have a gap under a good, again, it isn't just a random gap. Remember when we talked about gaps, we talked about on rallies, when you see runs, towards the end of those runs, you're going to see gap ups, and then you're going to start seeing smaller hammer candles form, or stars, inverted hammers, whatever you want to call them. After those gaps happen, these can be looked at as overbought gaps, kind of exhaust. They're getting tired. It's vice versa when we're seeing it through levels of importance without those rallies yet. We just had indication of resistance and no real run to the downside, but we've had that gap, indicating bears don't care about the 9 EMA. They don't care about the 5150. This has a huge potential of continuing to the downside even without the market. So this should be a top watch as well. Very good find, VK. I like that a lot. Has a gap fill here. It filled this gap, filled that gap. There's a little bit of a gap here, but it looks like they filled that. Yeah, they did. So all gaps are filled. The only one that we really have to worry about is the one above, which, just like I said with the market, what can we watch for if buyers do step in? We can look for a rejection. Again, we've already seen multiple happen here. It's not going to be hard for us to look for another. So very good find on that, VK. I like the positioning. I like how much downside potential that has, and it has very good levels to watch. What else can we add on this chart right here? So I have a really good base. I'm going to go for meat of the base. Let's go to the high of the move. What's the highest price ever got to? Price gapped up and started here and then dropped. So we'll grab from there. So just using fibs, that's pretty crazy actually. They're right at the control point of this current range, just like we did on SPY. Just getting information. Again, we're not sitting here saying you have to take these trades if these levels break. We're just grabbing information that makes sense to us. So if 48.50 breaks, we can expect a retest of the golden pocket that's near that other level we have marked already. So that's a pretty good plan going into the next week on TTD. Good job on that, VKK. I really like that find a lot. And good answers by Jeremy, LRD, VK, Al, ST. Good job answering and trying to engage and figure out what's the answer. Any other chart requests, though? I'm going to end the recording here, but we're going to keep charting.